everyone. Got some cool stuff happening today. First thing Monday morning, and got a really good mate of mine who's a good mechanic. Basically one of the only other people that do anything on this car besides myself, because I just don't trust anybody else. We've got lots of boxes over here, so basically lots of boxes of money really. Got all the stuff we need for swivel hubs, kingpin bearings, axle seals, wipe seals, all that sort of stuff. The fun box, Parapet locker that's going in at some stage this week, and just cleaning stuff. There was wheel bearings in this box as well, but waiting for Luke, my mate, to get to this. My front wheel bearings started getting really nasty, so I ended up doing them myself when I did the new rotors, new pads and everything. But yeah, should be fun. I can't wait to see how this thing goes with the front locker. It basically goes anywhere I point it without one, so should do it even more easily with one. Righto, a couple of days has passed since my mate Luke has finished doing all the hard work on the front diff, putting the locker in and doing all the swivel hubs and wheel bearings and axle seals, and you know, he replaced the kingpin bearings, the washer seals, everything's been done on the front end. The reason there's been a couple of days, I've just been a bit busy with everything else. One of those being rescuing Luke's 200 from a very soft wet paddock last night. That was a bit of fun. But finally got a bit of spare time this afternoon, and I'm going to finish the front diff, so I'll get the wiring done on the locker and get it tested and see how it goes. So if you're if 12 volt isn't your forte, this might look a little daunting because there's just a big pile of spaghetti, but believe me, it's very simple. I'm not huge on 12 volt myself, but this is really basic. You just get your head around the basic understanding of what you've got here and what it's going to do. I mean, that's just conduit, so don't worry about that. We'll put that on at the end, but you've basically got a relay, which is just an electric switch. You've got your in-car switch and your plug that goes to the diff lock, which I will be cutting off and actually doing a solder joint and some shrink tube on mine, just because there's some clearance issues under there and I really don't have room for this big bulky plug. So you know, it is pretty simple. You split it apart, we'll lay it out so that you can see what's going on. This is your loom from the actual locker, so that end will go to the locker. This end will go to these wires. I'll just shorten it up when I get to it. So those are your active wires from your relay. Your relay needs constant 12 volt. It's got a fuse link in it. There's an earth halfway up your loom. That's going to your black and your yellow are going to your switch, and then this one will go to an accessory switch under the dash, just so the locker can't be engaged or disengaged without the key on. So you know, that'll be accessory power. It'll probably make a light happen on the switch as well, and that sends information then to your relay, which then will flick a switch inside the relay, which will send constant power straight to the diff lock. Polarity doesn't matter because it's just an electromagnet. It is pretty simple, there's not much to it. We'll get underneath and start playing with it. Right, this is an awkward bloody mess under here. I don't know if you can see, I've got the sun sort of in a crappy spot at the moment. I've just done the solder joints on the two separate wires, and I've got my shrink tube and everything. So the two separate small shrink tubes up here ready to push on, and the big tube to go over the whole lot that I'll push on in a minute. I just wanted to show you, I don't know whether we drilled the hole slightly in the wrong spot or what, but I had to take the splitter bracket off. There's normally a bracket that holds this brake splitter down to the diff housing, and I've just had to cut a chunk out of it, which when I put it back on I'll show that again. It was probably okay, but it was just going to pin these wires a bit tighter than I would like, so I thought I'd just trim a little bit off just to give them some clearance. And yeah, I think if I was ever to do this again, I would extend the wires coming from the magneto before putting the locker in, because they're super short. They're a pain in the ass. You only get a tiny bit of wire sticking out. I understand why they've done that, so that they know you're going to mount your plug to the diff housing, but it just makes life hard when you're trying to do this. So yeah, definitely, if I ever have to have this apart for any reason, or if I'm ever helping someone do the diff lock, I will definitely be extending those wires in future. It's just going to make things easier. Right, all the shrink tubes on. I've just put I don't know if you can see, I can't even see my camera at the moment. Put a massive dob of JB weld around the grommet that comes through and to the wires, and then I'm going to push my conduit into that, and that'll seal everything up nicely. I like the idea of keeping water out of my diff. I know I'm a bit funny like that, but anyway, and if I need to pull the center on this for any reason, I'm not going to undo all of this. I will cut the wire further back and put a decent plug on there, what they should have done from the factory. So I'm not concerned about how heavy-handed I've been with the installation here, because it'll stay like this now. Got a better angle here. Sorry if you can't hear me. It's blowing its ass off at the moment. Get the camera to focus on that. So slightly better angle, I think. You can see what I've done there. It comes out of the top of the housing. I've sealed it. It's all siliconed in there. There's no water getting in there whatsoever. And when you go to run your line up from your diff, make sure it's got enough length. It's got to be able to flex, so when this side of the diff drops down, it's not going to rip your wires out. But at the same time, you don't want it flapping around and getting caught on things. So I figured the brake line, I put extended brake lines on this years ago, that braided line there, and I know they're long enough. They're 100mm longer than factory, and I've never had an issue with that. There's still plenty of slack in it, so I've just zip tied to the brake line all the way up until it gets to that chassis mount again, and then I'll run the wires through the engine bay and back towards the driver's seat, because that wiring loom, they give you lots of wire for the diff, the locker to relay, but not a lot of wire from relay to hand switch. So relay and the switch and everything else is going in the car. Okay, so we've got to get these wires through into the cab. This is my method. You've probably done something similar before, maybe you do exactly the same. This is what works for me. I just use a bit of tie wire. I poke it down into where I've already got wires going through the firewall through a grommet, and then I'll just get some lecky tape and I'll wrap it round so this end doesn't get caught, and wrap it around here all in one lot, so so that nothing comes loose. So like I said, I've already got the other end poked through right here. I'll get that taped up and then pull it through. Righto, I think I'm done. Got me wires coming up from down there, following the brake line up. Just got it coming up with the rest of the spaghetti mess that's already in here. And through the firewall down there. I had an old switch in this position long ago. Geez, that sun's annoying. For an old thermo that I did have on the transcooler, but I've actually moved the transcooler to a position where it doesn't need a thermo on it anymore. So that switch was unnecessary. I've just popped it out. It was a slightly smaller one. There was already constant 12 volt and accessory at that spot, so it was perfect. Just ran the wires up from under here. Got the relay and everything hidden behind this kick panel, so it won't do anything unless the key's on. Turn the key on, and then you've got that's now in the lock position, unlock position. So I've got the wheel jacked up on one side, and I've locked the auto hubs manually, just for the sake of this video, for the sake of testing. So at the moment, wheel spins freely, no dramas at all. Because the other wheel's on the ground and the hubs are locked in, you can see the drive shaft spinning with it. If I go in, turn the key on, hit the locker switch, that should now be locker engaged, and that's it. That's completely locked now. You can see the shaft is trying to turn. Come back, it'll unlock for a minute, but then it's locked up again. Same, go back the other way, it'll unlock and then lock up. So pretty happy with that. Means the locker's doing its thing, and hopefully the next video you see of this patrol will be actually at a full drive park again and testing that locker out. I'll put a link in the comments for this video. I'll put a link in the description of this video for Luke's Facebook page, his business page. So if you're around Brisbane, especially on the south side of Brisbane, and you need any sort of mechanical work done, he's got tons of experience. He started off in LV, he moved on to marine diesel, and is currently, and has been for quite a few years, working on heavy diesel in the mines. So whether it's your moped, your Commodore, your four-wheel drive, your truck, your skid steer, whatever it is, he can fix it, he can service it, he can do upgrades on it. Hit him up. Good bloke, does excellent work, can't recommend him any better. I don't let anybody else touch my vehicle with a spanner. It's basically me or Luke or nobody. And I'll put a link in there for the locker as well. If anybody's looking to update or install a locker in their diff, then it's personal preference, but I prefer the Eaton Z lockers. They're a good bit of gear. We'll catch you on the next one.